Libra, this is your astrology forecast for September 2015. Thank you for joining me. It's nice to be with you. I'm going to have a look at what's coming up this month, give you a really in-depth kind of analysis of the astrology. Okay, so let me get started here. The first thing that's going on is that your Uranus actually connects with your Mars by forming a trine aspect. And what that means for you is that what you're doing differently in relationships is really going to work at fulfilling some of your hopes and dreams at the beginning of this month. So rather than conform to the way you're supposed to behave, really just listen to your own gut and say, I want to do things this way. You know, if people are saying, go on holiday to Madeira or whatever, and you want to go to Hawaii, then go to Hawaii. Listen to your own gut. By doing things your way, you can fulfill your own hopes and dreams. And that might sound obvious, but at the beginning of the month, if you're someone who always does as they're told, who listens to the voice and the opinion of other people, you're going to have the self-confidence and courage to actually go your own way. Now, Mars and Uranus connect from the 29th of August through until the 18th of September. So that strength of, and that willfulness and that strength to do what it is you want to do will be with you for those 2.5 weeks. Venus and Uranus also connect for the whole month in a similar way, and then Venus and Mars are conjunct. So you're going to love doing your own thing. So it's really positive that you have the strength to actually follow through on that. Neptune and Jupiter have been in opposition, so they've been kind of butting heads, one on one side of the chart, the other on the other side of the chart, from the 15th of August through until the 14th of October, okay? And your Jupiter is in your 12th house in Virgo, and your Neptune is in your 6th in Pisces. So there's a real conflict between the real world and spirituality for you at the moment. I think you want your life, your day-to-day routine to be more meaningful, and I think you want to have a more grounded and practical faith, spirituality in your life. So that's easily solved, you know. Look, find for something that works for you, apply yourself to it, go look for a faith, a spirituality, a religion you can belong to. But if you have a desire to incorporate that into your life, then please follow that, because personally I think that, you know, we are spiritual beings having a human experience, and if you do have a link or a connection with some sort of higher power, then that really enriches your life. So I would encourage you to do that. On the 3rd of September, Mercury starts to square Pluto, and it has that relationship with Pluto until the end of September, the 30th. And Mercury is in your sign all of this month, okay? So you're going to come across very, very well, Libra. You're going to be able to communicate very clearly. You're going to be able to achieve your goals and have your thoughts and the right ideas. And with this square of Pluto, what that means is you can really communicate some of the darkest things in life, disappointment, death, resentment, and you can really look at the positives of that and help other people through it. So I think you're going to be very much useful to members of your family, to people in your inner circle, and you can really communicate and say the right things to help someone get through. You know, like a child who's lost a pet, or someone who's really disappointed because they didn't get into university or something like that. You're going to be the person who can really soothe them and help them to see that they will be okay and this too will pass. Now on the 4th, the moon actually starts to square your Jupiter and your midheaven. And I really get that by having this spiritual connection which I've mentioned, and by speaking to other people, you're going to be able to realize some of your hopes and dreams in your working life. And I think in your working life right now, you want to be taken more seriously, and you want more people to look at you and to treat you like you're an expert. And I really think that you'll get some messages through which will help you to put that into practice. By listening to your own voice, by asking spirit, it's all kind of coming together, but there's a real sense of you becoming the powerful person that you can be in your working life and fulfilling your potential, especially around the 4th of September. On the 5th of September, there's a T-square in your chart, which is an area of motivation. And this actually happens, it peaks in your 9th house. Okay, so this has to do with spirituality again, really. And I think that if you apply yourself to finding something that works for you, by exploring different options, different opportunities, and by speaking to people about it, you can really tap into that and be successful in your search. There's also a kind of pentagram that occurs here, made up of quincunxes, which is the universe. So if anything, for you to find something that you belong to on the 5th of September, it's very, very likely. I remember when I was on my spiritual path, I mean, I came from a place where I was firmly an agnostic, and I tried to find some sort of spirituality in my life, and I literally went to different religions. I went to the Krishnas and Christian Science, the Anglicans, I even went to Scientology. But it was important for me to see what's out there and what's available so I could make my own choice. And by doing that, I feel settled and secure in my own spirituality, and I feel my life is enriched by it. So I think that process is really important. Okay, 7th of September, there is a grand trine in your chart in water, which is an area of real talent. Okay, I really think that on an emotional level, you're going to understand something, something's going to click within you, which is going to help you to get to the next level in terms of your working life. So whether you finally understand that this is not the job for me, or whether you realize that, or whether you have a dream that if you expand the business, you're going to be very successful. Something is going to become very, very clear on the 7th of September that's going to enrich your working life. So listen to your feelings, listen to your dreams, and take them seriously. Venus also comes out of retrograde on this planet, which means that Venus kind of barges in on you and says, here, this is what you love. Here we go, have it. I present to you what you love. So listen to the things that deliver, that appear in your life on the 7th of September. There could be real themes and qualities in your life that you can fall in love with, whether it's a business or a person or whatever it is, or an idea. More love appears in your life. On the 9th of September, the moon starts to trine Saturn. And the moon is in your 11th house and Saturn is in your 2nd. So again, another hope and dream being fulfilled. And you can fulfill that dream by listening to your gut, by putting yourself out there, by taking on more responsibility. And I think the opportunity to fulfill that is in your social network, or in your friendships, or in your business relationships. That's interesting. Okay, so on the 9th, I don't see exactly what camp that's going to come from, but on the 9th, I would suggest to you, Libra, that you get out there, you connect with as many people as you can, because I think something will alert you, or you'll speak to someone that'll give you a great insight, and that'll open either a door for you where you can take on more responsibility, or whether you can get more structure in your financial life. But a message comes via other people, and it's helpful to you, so it's important that you make yourself available to hear it. On the 10th of September, your Ascendant starts to square all of your planets in the 11th, and this is an extension of the day before. Okay, by connecting with other people, you really hear some information that aligns you with your true self, and that makes your path clearer and allows you to move forward in a direction that you want to go in. Not someone else's direction, but your direction. Now, on the 12th, there's a lot of movement in your 12th house. You've got the Sun, the Moon, Jupiter, and your midheaven in your 12th house, and they're all kind of lining up for the new moon, which is happening the day after, on the 13th. And they're all in Virgo, so that means that you have the ability to discern very well, you're able to make good decisions, and you're able to make good practical decisions about your work. If you have to make a decision, I'm going to stay in this branch of the company, or I'm going to move overseas, or I'm going to take this job, or I'm going to apply for this job and not that job. If you have to make any of those kind of work-related decisions, the 12th is the day to do it, because things that would usually be agonizing and that would take you days to decide over will be done like that. The 13th, with the new moon, allows you to pull in information and to plant seeds for the future, especially about your practical life. And I think some of you actually watching this, you're going to take a totally different path and become, I think, yeah, a couple of you are going to start living a very spiritual life and do that for your work. So if you're becoming a nun or a Buddhist monk or something like that, or you're becoming a spiritual teacher and you decide, please let me know, because I really feel that some of you Libras are going to go down that path. Wow, that's amazing. Okay, it's not just a new moon though on the 13th, it's also a partial solar eclipse that happens. So some of the sun will be blocked out. You can see that in southern Africa only, okay? And this solar eclipse happens on the North Node, which is about drawing information in. So you're going to receive messages which will help you make this decision. Not all of you are going to become nuns and monks, okay, don't get me wrong. But even those of you who don't become nuns and monks, you will get information in that says, hey, listen buddy, you can improve your working life by doing ABC. So don't ignore those messages. They're going to be helpful to you even if you work in an abattoir or you're a butcher or whatever. Doesn't matter what you're doing, you can always improve your circumstances. Mercury is going to be in your sign all month, Libra, okay? So I've already mentioned that you come across very well, but it's with you for the entire month of September and it's in your first house. So you can really communicate your truth. So if you're trying to write a book or you're trying to communicate your true message, this is the month to do it. People don't know who you are, if they don't understand you, if your family members think of you as one way, but you're really something completely different, then enlighten them. You know, I was watching something the other day and the guy says to the woman, he says, I don't like this side of you. And she says, I don't have sides, I'm not a box. And that's a clever kind of comeback. But the truth is that if you separate different sections of yourself, people can't get to know the real you. And it's important to show all sides of you. Even if those people then say to you, I don't like this side of you, it's important to be a well-rounded individual. Yeah, because you do other people's thinking for them sometimes. People aren't going to like this about me, so I won't tell them. You don't know. You don't know if they would not be totally enamored with that part of you. Right, 15th of September, Saturn squares Mars, and it continues that square relationship until the 5th of October. And Saturn here is in your second house, and Mars is in your 11th. Okay, so I really think that now you've got some ideas about how you're going to live your life, what you're going to do, and how you can become more truthful in your working life and more fulfilled and more aligned with your true purpose. What I think you'll come across is that you start to have ideas like, oh, but I can't do it because I won't be able to make money, my parents won't approve, I can't move to that country, I don't have a visa, da 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 da. All the blocks, all the reasons why you can't do it will appear. Don't listen to those, trust your Mars energy and just put the left foot in front of the right foot and try and go after what you want. Things will work out. It's just Saturn doing his Saturn thing. He always just says, this is the establishment, this is the status quo, you can't come past here, this is the way it's done. And if you listen to that, you'll just end up in a tiny little room sitting in a corner. You have to push against things in life sometimes to get to where you want to go. And the 15th of September through until the 5th of October is one of those times. Now, on the 17th, the moon starts to sextile your Pluto and your Jupiter, and then it creates this nice little tiny talent triangle, which I call triangles of harmony. And on the 17th, I think one of your family members gives you an idea for how to make this happen, how to make the practical changes in your life that you want to make. So speak to people nearest and dearest to you. It doesn't have to be, biological family. It can be anyone who's close to you. So make sure you speak to people and to let them in on what you're doing, because then they can give you their 2 cents, and on the 17th that'll actually be useful. Saturn goes into Sagittarius on the 18th, and it's going to stay there until December 2017, so 2.5 years, so that's big. Now Saturn scrutinizes and he puts everything under the microscope. And what he's going to put under the microscope for you, Libra, is the way you communicate and how you come across. So you've made a lot of progress with that at the beginning of the month. And now it comes in and it kind of solidifies that for you, and it says, you're in the right place, keep doing that and don't relapse into either listening to other people too much or becoming people pleasing or whatever it is. Stick to your guns. So Saturn in your case really, really supports and helps you and structures your view and idea of yourself. On the 20th of September, the moon starts to square Chiron. And again, an opportunity through your communication. I mean, Mercury really makes a big impact on your chart this month, because whenever you open your mouth and you speak, good things happen. Okay, if you talk about your dreams for your working life, you can really heal some of your past disappointments. So keep speaking, keep talking to everybody. People will have good ideas for you, and people will offer you opportunities. There's also a grand trine here on this day. Again, an area of real talent, and it's in fire. So it's like a cleansing of your past disappointments. And it means that, yes, dear Libra, you can be your unique, weird self, and you can do what it is you want for a career. You can be successful in it. You can make a living. You can be true to your divine purpose. And you don't need to conform anymore. It's okay. And that's real freedom, isn't it? That's real freedom. On the 22nd, there's another T-square in your chart. Again, more energy, more motivation. And this is between your Uranus and your Mercury and your Pluto and Moon in your 4th. Okay, so yeah, this new you, this new ability to express yourself is going to have a positive impact on all of your relationships, but on the 22nd of September, particularly your personal relationships. So be more real. Show us all sides of the box. You know, we want to get to know you, and we're going to respond positively when you reveal yourself. On the 24th, the moon quincunxes Jupiter. This is interesting. I think this is okay, this is very random, but I'm getting that you are taught something, you understand something via a female in your life. So whether it's your little girl or your sister or your mother or your granny or whatever, I think a woman in your life comes in and teaches you something quite profound, and it may be said in passing, it may not be even intended to be like a lesson or something, but it makes you really realize something about the nature of being. Nice. Wow. So speak to some of the women in your life on the 24th. On the 25th, Mars goes into Virgo, and that happens in your 12th. So again, the drive to have a practical spirituality in your life doesn't weaken as the month goes on, it strengthens. And I really think for you to have a spiritual practice is hugely necessary. And that's what all of this search is about. And you kind of clicking into place more about who you are, and on being on this search for spirituality, they go hand in hand. The more spiritual you get, the more you understand yourself. The more you understand yourself, the more you understand the universe and spirituality. Okay, on the 28th, there's a full moon. And that full moon is in Aries in your 7th house. Now, full moons are blossomings and coming to fruition. And it's in Aries in your 7th, like I said. And Uranus is right next to it. So really, I think you hit the nail on the head. And I think you really stop apologizing for being who you are, and I think you embrace the real you. This is so hard for a lot of people to do. You know, some people always wear a mask or a facade, and they always have to play a part or a role. Some people can never let that down. But the Libras, certainly, who are guilty of that to some degree, because you are the most diplomatic of all the signs. You know, you get on well with people, and you don't get on well with people because you're totally honest all the time. You know, some people who aren't very nice, you can even get on with them. You're not going to get on with them if you say, hey, you're not a very nice person, you should be ashamed of yourself. You don't do that. You are diplomatic, you hold back. But I think on the 28th, you become more truthful about what you value, what you believe. And that I think that's a good thing. There's also a total lunar eclipse happening on this harvest moon. And the total lunar eclipse happens on the south node, so it's about letting go, okay? And for you, it's letting go of the dishonesty and the people pleasing and the telling people what they want to hear. I mean, I love that. You know, sometimes I don't want people to be forthright and direct with me. I don't want you to tell me that I'm whatever. I want you to tell me how awesome I am. Everyone's like that. But for you, it gets complicated because if you're telling everyone what they want to hear, then what's really the truth? And where does that leave you, you know? So it's important to get more real. By the way, if you want to see this total lunar eclipse, you can in these following countries. North America, if you're on the East Coast, the whole of South America, Western Africa, Western and Central Europe, and I think Iceland. Okay, so you can actually see this total lunar eclipse, the whole thing will be blacked out. Let's look at the end of the month. 30th of September, there's a grand trine here in Earth in your chart. And again, it's basically your relationship in conjunction with other people. What I mentioned just now is, you know, about becoming more real. You may think that's harmful and that you'll lose relationships, but I actually think that if you become more realistic in terms of how you are with people, I think you'll build closer relationships, and I think you'll actually strengthen the relationships that you've got. You know, because people can sometimes tell when someone's just kind of hustling them, you know, and just kind of not hustling them, but kind of like saying, "Oh yes, you're so wonderful, you're so great," you know, and just give them that yes mentality all the time. People sometimes think, that doesn't sound really very truthful to me, and this person may not be everything that they're saying. You know, so it even works that way. So it's important sometimes to be a bit more real. Okay, lesson over for September 2015. If you'd like a private reading with me, please get in touch via my website. It's gregoryscott.com. Just click on the readings tab and you'll see the types of readings that I offer. Please remember to subscribe to the channel, and if you want to find me on Facebook and like the page, it's facebook.com/GregoryScott444. Have a great September, and I'll speak to you soon.